Now let's talk about BRICS. BRICS is interesting because it is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, now I think Saudi Arabia and a bunch of other countries are jumping in on that. Ultimately they will, and they've said they will issue their own currency. Klaus Schwab's words and the same words that the BRICS leaders are using is, this new currency is part of the multipolar world. So they are trying to decentralize the US dollar and make it multipolar, where the WEF ultimately is in charge of that, and the International Monetary Fund. So BRICS is a globalist currency. BRICS is part of the WEF. People are like, no, Putin is one of us. No, Putin is a young global leader. He graduated from the World Economic Forum, young global leaders. Look it up. He is neck deep in WEF. So they have brought this about to erode the West, the power of the West, the dominance of the West. But right now, I think it's, for me, I look at the elites and the rich, and they're not going to give their money away. They need it stored somewhere. So they're not going to crash the whole world overnight. Well, they will, but I think they are preparing. So I think, my guess, I'm speculating here, as they crash the West, they've put their assets into BRICS, because BRICS is something they're building up. And so it's something they plan on having there for the long haul, while the Western currencies, they're going to crash down and bring in the CBDC. Ultimately, it'll all be CBDCs, but BRICS will be the local CBDC. So a suggestion, something to explore if you have connections in those countries, is to invest in a BRICS country. I know of a man that's looking at starting a gold bank in one of the BRICS countries. Gold kept in a safety deposit box that would be offshore from the West. So as things go, if they confiscate the gold, then the gold that he has is in a BRICS country that then is able to be drawn on, liquidated into a BRICS denomination, attached to a debit card if it works like that, who knows. I think ultimately you don't make business plans, you make business models. And a model adapts and changes, and we will adapt and change as things happen. But as I talk with a lot of these people, keep my ear to the ground, this is just some of the things I pick up. Gems is another thing. Another man that I share some of it on there, he's getting things like emeralds, whether it's diamonds, things that are timeless. They've been here forever, and they'll be here forever. And not the artificial, but the genuine ones, because they don't go away. I don't believe we will have warning. I think this will crash. The warning is here already. We are watching things come undone. Pardon me, as it's a slow cooker. But I think overnight we will see a crash. When Brazil, and I've talked to the video's on there, when Brazil had the Cruzario and hyperinflation hit, they bought in the real, and it happened overnight. You went to bed one night with Cruzarios, you wake up the next day with real. The government said, pardon me, thanks for your money, you just jump-started our economy. The banks, that's why I think the banks are wanting to keep people's cash. I just shared a video on that where somebody had a house for $900,000, they sold it, they had $500,000 equity. The bank, they went in there to discharge their mortgage or to ask about the final payout. It was $400,000. The bank said, leave all the money with us. We'll keep your loan open for 6 months or so, and you can buy another house and just step straight into it. And he didn't do that, of course. But there's a lot of reasons for that, I get it. But I think when you look at behind the scenes of what they're saying they are doing, excuse me, bringing about a CBDC, I think ultimately what they are going to do there is have a bank bail-in. And look up bank bail-ins. They will take the money that everyone has put in there to jumpstart the banks, jumpstart the economy, and your money's gone. Or they'll say, you can have $900,000 and that doesn't buy much, or we can convert that over to a CBDC for you. Obviously, we don't trust banks. Is there a person in the world that trusts the banks or the government in these things? No. They are there to take. So there will be no warning. It will crash overnight. You've got the warning now. So if you wake up one day and it's all gone and the CBDC is in place and there's chaos on the streets, it's not the time to go, oh, gee, I should have done something. Act now. Act now, like I've said, prepare. On the WEF, and I've mentioned this, the left and the right. The WEF has people on the left and the right. in the US, here, all over the world. There is no left. Left or right is wings on the same bird. What will a crash look like? I think it's there to break nationalism. So the World Economic Forum is breaking nationalism through a lot of it's coming from the top down. As they feed it down through the IMF and through our governments, people look and say, well, how can they have it so coordinated globally? It's really through the IMF. Every country owes the IMF money. And the IMF is coming along. They have their own CBDC already. Stable coin, is it? No, not stable coin. Something coin, Unicoin or something like that. They will, I believe they are, saying to countries, if you want to stay going, you want money, more money, you need to put in CBDCs. They've been working on it for years. They even have a CBDC tracker on their website, I believe. So they want to break nationalism to bring about globalism, global socialism. Immigration, they are doing that with. And I believe we are going to see a lot of chaos with people that have moved countries to another country like the US. I'm going to use the US as an example. As I think they've had 7 million immigrants since Biden's got in. 7 million illegal immigrants have come over the border. Those people are there to create chaos. They want chaos when this whole thing goes, I believe. When it collapses, you're going to have people that have no roots in that country. They have no homes. They are there to survive. Trust me, I've migrated twice into Portugal and into the US, and I'm a US citizen, but I was born in Australia and grew up in Australia. So to come into a country where you are not from, you have to re-establish everything. You have a different mindset and it becomes survival. You have got 7 million survivors that have come across the border into the US. I've already covered, they've burned the food in the US, so there'll be food shortages. And so a lot of the WEF has said this, they want to reduce the world population. A lot of this will happen, I believe, by natural attrition in a sense, not natural, fabricated attrition, but fabricated by, I don't even know if that's the right way of saying it, but fabricated chaos where they've burned the food plants. Largest chicken producing farm in the US or egg producing farm in the US burned to the ground. How does that happen? I think we will see a lot of suicides. We saw that in the Great Depression, people committing suicide, jumping off bridges and things. We're going to see that again because there's a lot of pressure on homes. You need to have people that you are safe with, people you can trust with, people that you know have got you. I think I'll use that as an example. I have different folks around my life that have been there for me through thick and thin. I'm not currently married. My wife left me 4 years ago. So I am not in a hurry when that right person comes. And there's been some people that are amazing that have come around, but the right person is a safe place. I feel safe with them. They feel safe with me. I have videos on there of unconditional love where you love that person no matter what. And it's not a state of saying, I'm trying to, but it's understanding unconditional love in a spiritual way. So you can cover that on other videos. You can look at that. They're the sort of people you want around your life. If you're in chaos now, then there's a pretty big chance when this hits, the people around your life, husband, wife, whoever, uncles, aunts, cousins, that are not really giving you that now will disappear. I believe the debt will be nationalised in a lot of these countries because they've inflated it. Remember, we've got two currencies at play already, a CBDC and cash. As they've inflated cash, continue to give it, print it, give it out and pay, for people to loan it out, and people are thinking, oh gee, my house value is going up. No, it's not. Your currency value is going down. If you look at a house and say, well, I bought it 6 months ago and now it's gone up $100,000 and I've done nothing to it, that should tell you that's inflation right there. So the CBDC is what they're going to peg it to. So I think a lot of the debt, they're just going to nationalise. They're going to come in and say, your debt is completely unmanageable. It's so high, you'll never be able to pay it. You took out a mortgage for $1 million, but now the cash is inflated and it's way up here. And so what we're going to do is we'll nationalise that. We're going to take over your mortgage. We're going to put it into socialism, social welfare. And you'll work here in Australia, you'll work for our social service, Centrelink, and